Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to my No Man's Sky video. This is Shalin Magi, and today I want to talk about curious deposits, or otherwise known as runaway mold. So stick around. Okay, curious deposits. So the other day, um, they reran the Breach Expedition, which I think is still going on and probably going to be going on for the next couple days or next week or something. Anyway, I ran that expedition. I was really looking forward to it because it opened up access to some really badass um, new Corvette parts. So, of course, I built a new Corvette, and I just kind of want to show that off to you guys real quick. All right, so here it is from the back, and then if I scroll up, that's what we got. So I'm really happy with the new Corvette. I'm pretty happy with all my Corvettes, but I really like this. It just really nasty looking. Um, the only bad thing, though, not that it's a bad thing, but like all fresh new Corvettes, it's basically it was a Class C. I upgraded to a Class B, so I spent 10,000 nanites. And if you look up here, I've got 5,000 nanites. So that means I'm going to have to farm about 70,000 nanites to get this thing to Class S, because the first upgrade from C to B is 10,000 nanites. From B to A is 25,000 nanites, and then from A to S is 50,000 nanites. Now, that's not really too big of a deal because the way I farm nanites, there's a couple ways. I'll talk about that in a minute, but the main way I farm nanites is basically curious mold, or runaway mold, curious deposits. So I'm going to take you to one of my main production bases, and I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So right now, I am at one of my main production bases, one of the first production bases I made in this game, and I'm in a system right now where I have two settlements in this system. And I'm on a planet where I have a settlement. I have another settlement on really just the next planet close to this one. But so I've done a lot of, I guess you could say, exploring on this planet, just having a settlement. And I figured while I was here, I had a quest for documenting like the plants, the animals, and the minerals. So I did a lot of sort of exploring. And one of the things in this game that I like to do is I like to basically get in my starship and just drive around the planet really close to the ground. And usually, a lot of times, I find crashed freighters. And so that's one of my favorite things to do. And there is so many spots on this specific planet where I have run across patches of curious mold, or runaway mold, curious deposits. But I guess what I'm getting at is um, just exploring a planet that pretty much has curious deposits. You're probably going to find lots of different spots on that planet that has those deposits. Um, the way I found the curious deposits on this planet was when I was building this base. I was kind of back and forth from the base right here to my mining outpost, which this is not it, not this building, but over here. And you could tell this is probably one of my first production bases because I've just got piping running all over the place. I don't have it hidden very well under the ground. But so I'd be running from this building over here up to here. And I kept noticing, now on this planet, the curious deposits are really bright red, which I'll show you in a minute. I kept running across these, it was like 6 or 7 balls, these really big bright red balls. And I was like, wow, what's that? And it's a curious mold. And of course, I think we all know that, when we mix all these slimes together, it turns into this living slime. And then when we put this in our refiner, ooh, there must be something in there. Yeah. And so we know that, when we put this slime in our refiner, it turns to runaway mold. And then when you put the runaway mold in there, it turns into nanites and yada, yada, yada. And I noticed when I blew these balls up, these curious deposits, like I got over 1,000 runaway mold, and I was like, oh, wow, check that out. And so I wound up just putting a building right up there, pretty much covering the deposits. So that way when I shoot them, they just run up against the wall and it's a little easier. And I'll take you inside. So to really streamline this, I figured, you know what, I'm just going to put a short-range teleporter from my main production base here right over to my curious deposits. And here they are. These big, bright red balls. Right? And so, yeah, I built the building around it. Anyway, as I was exploring this planet, searching for crash freighters, mostly running around and scanning minerals, plants, and animals, I just kept running across these so many spots on this planet where we've got these curious deposits, and I started just setting save beacons down. Now, in this case, I made them red because the deposits are red. So I started setting down save beacons, and it got to the point where I had like 5 save beacons down, and I found another spot, tried to put another save beacon down, and, the game informed me that, hey, you're limited to 5 save beacons on any one planet. And, I'm like riding around the whole planet back and forth, farming these curious deposits. Then what I decided to do, then I've got another couple bases. Now right here, I've got my quartz base, and I will take you there. Okay, this is my quartz base. Now, I ran into some curious deposit. Now, every time I've found curious deposits, I wasn't setting out to find them. They just kind of happened onto me, I guess pretty luckily. And this base is pretty unique for me because I've ran into a couple of interesting things. Like if I hover up, you see there's a exosuit drop pod, which again, when I built this base, I had no intention on finding an exosuit drop pod, but there's some interesting things with drop pods that I'm probably going to make a video about in the future. But anyway, so, I was just like, I'll shoot up these, or I'll mine a lot of the radiant shards here, which give you a good ratio of nanites as well if you put them in your refiner. But I was just kind of looking around, scanning one day when I was here, and I noticed, whoa, 3 stars. So anytime you see 3 stars, that could be sac venom, or it could be curious deposits. And it was curious deposits, and I was like, oh wow. And now on this planet, they're not bright red; they're just kind of like brown. And as you see, I've got a save beacon right there. There's another area on this planet where there's curious deposits. And we'll go ahead and teleport into that little building right there. And this is my next curious deposit farm. And there's a pretty good amount in here, right? So like on the first planet I was on, I was telling you how if there is curious deposits on a planet you found them on, ride around that planet with your eyes open, fly close to the ground. More than likely, they're going to be all over the place, okay? And that is the case here. Now, there is, I have another planet where I have a base, a curious deposit base. I'm not going to go there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the first planet that I was on. Okay. And I discovered something really interesting while I was farming these things for my other my other 3 Corvettes that I took up to S class. I was doing a lot of farming, um, to get my ships up to S class, my Corvette ships. And I kind of discovered something pretty interesting. So on this planet, I have another base beside the one I just showed you, and this is called Curious Deposit 2. So this is the same system. And I was telling you earlier that I had like 5 save beacons sat down on the planet, right? I was kind of going crazy here with this stuff. And what I discovered is I'm going to shoot up these curious deposits right here next door to me, okay? And this is going to happen in less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot these guys up. Now, I thought there was like I guess you could say a spawn time limit on these things when they respawn. And I was like, damn, spawn time limit's really quick, like 5-10 minutes spawn time. That I don't think that's the case. I'm going to show you what I think the case is. So, okay, so this area is cleaned out. Now, we'll teleport back over. Now, I'm going to go to my quartz site, what I just showed you, and I'm going to hit those deposits. All right, so we'll go to the quartz base. Okay, so we will go ahead and teleport right over to the building next door. And I'm going to burn these down real quick. I'm going to get them all down to the bottom there. And we'll just burn through these real quick. Okay, now just that first run of curious deposits and this one, I have already got more than a full stack, right? I've got almost a stack and a half. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. I think this is really interesting. So we're going to go ahead and go right back to my first base, which is Kongi base. All right, we are back. And if I go and use the teleport over to that first little runaway mold base, you'll see that they all respawned already. It hasn't even been 5 minutes. Maybe it's been 3 minutes. So my conclusion is once you basically sort of teleport out or leave whatever system you're in, or maybe, yeah. Now, I do have another base on this planet of curious deposits. So you may not even have to leave the system, right? You may only need to teleport to a different base, but to be safe, because I haven't tested it out, I'm going to say that, and look, we'll go right back to the quartz mine or quartz base, and these runaway molds that I just blew up are going to be spawned right back there. So, in other words, the moral to this story is, of course, the planet that I'm leaving, that I was just on, is littered with curious mold all over the planet. And like I said, I had like 5 save beacons set down, and that's really unnecessary. Really, all you need is 2 bases for curious deposits, and you just keep teleporting back and forth to them. There's really no need, and look, they're all back again, which is pretty insane. So yeah, you only need to have, say, 2 planets, and just make two bases with runaway mold curious deposits, and you can sit here and just grind these out and make hellish nanites. Now, these are really pretty big buildings. What I noticed when I was building around these curious deposits was if you didn't make the building really tall and really big, that you might only get like 4 or 5 deposits, as opposed to if you do make it really big, you get like 6 to 7 to 8. So I think the size matters in that. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get at today. If you find some deposits on a planet, search around the planet. Chances are they're going to be all over the place, and just build you 2 bases. As a matter of fact, I'll test this with you guys right now. So I will blow these guys up yet again. All right. Now, instead of going to my quartz base, I fell through the floor. Instead of going to my quartz base, I'm going to go to the other base, my curious deposit base, that's on the same planet, and that's called Kongi 2, right here. Same planet. And I'm going to shoot these guys up, and then I'm going to come right back here and see if they respawned where I just killed them right now. Okay. And I didn't see a need to, go and build a whole electromagnetic or solar array just for this. The only thing I use in here is a teleporter. So, okay, we'll head right back to the base I was just at. All right. Yeah. So interestingly, that would be an even better idea. Just if you have a curious deposit spot on a planet you're aware of, or you have like a runaway mold base, fly around the planet, find another spot where you see these things laying around, and build a base on that same planet. And really, all you have to do is just teleport from one to the other, and they just keep respawning. It seems, I guess, like once you go through a teleport or something. So, yeah, hope that helps. So yeah, when you're on any planet, I guess I don't think these guys are going to show up again. So let me kind of go over here to the space we were just at, Kongi 2. Yeah, so whenever you're on a planet, every once in a while, just put your analyst, or enable your analysis visor. I can't talk. Every once in a while, when you're on a planet in different spots, I don't know, doing whatever you're doing, mining or looking for a drop pod or something, enable your analysis visor and just look around the planet real quick. And if you see these triple stars, there's a real good chance it's curious deposits. And if that's the case, I mean, it's worth at least setting a save beacon down in that area where they are. You don't have to build a whole base around them. You could actually, what I was doing before I even built the base around these guys is I would take my terrain manipulator, and let's just say, a lot of times they are on a hill and they will roll around like crazy. So to prevent them from rolling too far, just take your terrain manipulator and put it in create mode and just build build your own walls, right? And then they'll roll up against the wall, and it's much easier to shoot them. uh I think it's probably easier just building two bases is really all you need, and then you can just port between the two of them. It's a little bit brain numbing after a while, but it will get you a ton of nanites to where you can upgrade your starships, your corvettes, and your multi-tools and all that good stuff. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so yeah, there's the base we just came from, but it's pretty far. Let's see. Obviously, you're going to see the 3 stars right there because that's my base right there. But yeah, they're all over this planet. Um, you know, they will be different colors on different planets, but just look around, scan for them, and once you find a set of them, um, throw a save beacon down and then explore that planet. You'll find other spots where they are. And I think the best way to go about doing it is just build a base at each spot. That way you can just teleport back and forth. And yeah, you will become a billionaire in nanites, basically. So, hope this helped. If you got anything from the video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you soon. Peace out.